Hello, this is a short tutorial on how to create cases in the administration interface of LearnIM.ca. So the first thing you do is you type in this link at the top, admin.learnim.ca. Then you type in your login credentials. And once you log in, you'll see different folders that are assigned to your account. So the case folder we'll be working on is called Holters. So we're going to go to that. On the left here are all the previous cases that were added by various editors, and if you want to add a new one, you can click at the top here and you can give it a name. So Wankibok, for instance, click add, and you can have the case have a question already in it, or you can do a blank case if you want. It doesn't really matter. So we're just going to select this. So at the top here is the case text that we put in, and I've prepared case text. You don't have to have text associated with your case, but if it's a management question, it's often highly recommended. And okay, so we're going to save it. And at the bottom right here is preview saved case. You can click on that, and it'll take you to the case preview. So as you can see, we have our case text here. Next, we want to add an image, which is the ECG, and there's two ways to add images. You can click on this little link here, insert edit image, and click upload, and you can browse your computer for images. However, I don't recommend you use this method, and I'll tell you why in a second. The second way to upload it, which is the way I recommend, is to go down here where it says settings, uploaded files. Click that, click select file to upload. You can upload your images that you want to include with this case. So I have two here. So the first one is click view. This is the image here of Wankibok, and here I have some arrows, the same image, but I have some arrows added here. So this will be used in the explanation. And the important part of this table here is the ID. So 1277 is our initial tracing. So we're going to go back to our case text. I'm going to put curly brackets, image, colon, 1277, and colon, and brackets. So hit save, preview case, and as you can see, this is our case text, and it inserted the image right after it. Okay, and then afterwards you can add another curly bracket. You put question, colon, and as you can see, it says ID colon Q0. So you can put question colon Q0. And it'll insert a question right after this image. And you can even add more images. For example, image 1277. We'll just repeat the same image for demonstration. Hit save. So you can have multiple images, multiple questions, and it renders it in a linear order. So let's preview that just to show you what it looks like. So as you can see, this is our case text here. Then there's an image. This is the image. Then there's the question, Q0. That's the first question. And image 1277, so that's this image here after it. So you can actually have multiple images, multiple questions of multiple parts of the case. It often works well for Holters if you have multiple tracings that are shown, and then you can ask the learner to interpret each tracing individually. So I'm going to remove that. And if you don't put these questions here, then it'll just add them automatically at the end of the case. So but it's recommended to put it here. So hit save. So this is the question configuration area. So we can actually remove some of these questions that are there before, for instance. We can add more questions. So let's start with self-generated items question type. And first we type in the question. So in this particular case, we're going to write identify the rhythm on this tracing. Okay, and it says pericarditis as like a demo. So we're going to get rid of that. We're going to add choice here and select group, and we push Holter. And these categories is what the user will see when they're coding the question. So, for example, when they're answering this question, these are the choices that they'll be presented with. So this demonstrates Wankibok, so we click that one. And say this tracing also had PACs on it, so we can select that as well. Hit insert. So as you can see, if they select Wankibok, they get 1 point. This is a point modifier, so you can do negative points, positive points. So if they selected, they get +1 point. That's the primary diagnosis. And This box is an alternative choice. So say this is the answer is Wenkebach, or you could also say if you complete hard block and you'd be correct, for example. So you can select this button here and it makes A or B, right? So one or the other. But if they select both, they won't get points for both. So this way you can have multiple correct answers. So I'm going to remove that. And since the PACs are not a primary diagnosis, we're going to uncheck this to make it a secondary diagnosis. And as you can see, it automatically defaults to 1/4 of a point. So, and at the bottom here is how many points you need to get this question correct. So if they select Wenkebach, they'll get the question correct. This is the wrong choice penalty, is how many points to remove if they select extra choices. I usually leave it at 0. I don't penalize people for selecting extra. And here is the group. So group is Holter. So when you click add choice, you get to select different groups here. So if you select multiple ones, it'll give you all of the items in those groups. But generally, you're going to have one group. In this particular case, it's the Holter group. So close, and that's it. So saved, preview. So let's see how our configured question works. So the bottom here, identify the rhythm on this tracing. That's the text we put in. And here we can type in, AV block, and it says like a search text question type. So like somewhat like an autocomplete. So you can click Wenkebach, for example. And here you can click see possible answers. So you can see exactly all of the choices that they could select. So say this person thought that there's also delta waves there. Click OK. Hit next, and then these are your answers and how many points you get for each answer. So remember, we coded this to be +1 point. So you can see that here, and this is the answer key. That hey, this person missed a PAC, for example. And then this is how many points that I just acquired and how many are required to get this question correct. Okay, so we're going to remove PACs because there's no PACs in this tracing. And we're going to add another question called MCQ, or the question type MCQ. And this is the question text, so we can say, what is the most appropriate management of this patient's rhythm? Okay, and here we can put down no action required, adjust patient's medication to ensure beta blockers are discontinued, referral for elective pacemaker implantation, referral for an emergency pacemaker. Okay, and so we're going to select this one because this is the correct choice. And you can add more choices and you can remove choices. This button shuffles them for each, so every time the user sees this question, it'll shuffle the choices. And how many points that they need to get to pass this question. So there's only one answer, so it's 1 point. And this is the max selection, so the only maximum they can select is one answer choice. Sometimes you can say select all that apply, and this is when you can change that. So we're going to save, and at the top here to display the question, we're going to add another question : as you can see next to this question, it says ID Q1 right here. So we're going to put : Q1. Okay, save. And preview. As you can see, there's the case text, the image, and it added an extra question here. So we can select it to try it out. So save this one next. And so you can see I selected the wrong choice. Score 0 and required 1 point. Okay, and below that is the answer text. So I prepared an answer text. I'm going to do a bulleted list. And we're going to put this. So question 1, this is the explanation. Question 2, this is the explanation here. And we're going to bold these just to make it look nice. And then afterwards we want to display image : and this is the image that has the arrows on it. So 1278, 1278. Okay, save. And here, and at the end, you can put. I sometimes put further reading, and you can make a bulleted list of things they could read, like a practice guideline or something like that. But we're not going to do that here. Okay, save, preview. As you can see, this is our case, the image, and when you hit next, it shows you the answer here. So question 1, explanation, question 2, explanation, and then has the image. These are brown arrows that show up on here, but they're supposed to be red, but I'll have to fix that later. Okay, and that's it. So below that is the authors. So I'll put my name down since I created the case. Add, and if there's any reviewers for a particular case, you can also put reviewers, or you can have multiple authors if you worked a lot on this case. And down here is categories. So we're going to assign bradycardia and management because it checks the clinical. It also tests clinical management. So save. And what these do is they help categorize these cases on the left instead of having a huge list. So you can see that some of them are bradycardias, tachycardias, white complex tachys, etc. And also it helps learners when they finish the quiz, it'll actually give them the breakdown of how well they did in each of these categories. So they can see, oh, I didn't do so well in narrow complex tachycardia, I gotta read up on that. If you click manage tags, it'll show you the performance in each category. It has the abbreviated name that you can see here on the left. And you can click edit, and then you can change the abbreviated name, you can add more categories, and you can enable study resources. And these are the resources that it'll show the learner if they wanted to learn more about this topic, but we won't be doing that here. So let's close that. And at the bottom here is the reviewer comments. So this is where we communicate about this case, and these are private. So you can say like, please fix grammar. Add comment, and it'll put it here. And this, if there's any reviewers that look at the case, they can add comments here as well. They can put down that they reviewed it. And also the learner comments, when they give feedback on cases, they also show up here. And when these comments come in, as you can see on the left here, they're bolded. So when I click, when the editor looks at the comment, they can click acknowledge that they've reviewed it and they fixed all the grammar on it. Well, that's it. That's all for today. If you have any questions, please let me know.